Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're taking a look at something you might not think about often, the global air pumps market. Sounds niche, maybe, but it's surprisingly dynamic. Okay, let's unpack this. When we say air pumps, well, that covers a huge range, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Everything from, tiny pumps for fish tanks, pneumatic tools you might have in your garage, all the way up to massive industrial compressors, manufacturing, construction, even critical medical stuff.
Right, it's the sort of foundational tech everywhere, really. So our mission today, give you the shortcut. What's the growth story here? How's it performing across different regions, different countries? We've got the data. And just to hook you straight away, 2021, this market, already over $3 billion.
Mm-hmm.
And it's projected to hit, get this, over $5.6 billion by 2033.
Wow.
Growing at a CGR that's compound annual growth rate of 5.3%. So not insignificant, steady, solid expansion.
Yeah, those big global numbers definitely tell a story. But, what I find really revealing is when you start breaking it down, region by region, country by country, the patterns get quite interesting.
Okay, so let's start that breakdown. How about North America? Where does it stand? It's actually the biggest piece of the pie right now, right? Over $1 billion back in 2021.
That's right. $1,024 million, roughly.
And expected to reach over $1.8 billion by 2033. The CAGR there is just over 5%, 5.054% to be exact.
Pretty solid. And within North America, the U.S. is the heavyweight, no surprise there. About $703 million in 2021, heading towards $1.2 billion. The growth rate is strong, consistent, around 4.87%. Pretty much tracks the regional average.
Okay, but hang on. Here's something that jumped out at me in the North American numbers. Canada.
Ah, yes.
While the U.S. market is bigger overall, Canada's growth rate is actually higher, the highest in the region, in fact.
It is. Over 6.1% CAGR, going from about $190 million to nearly $386 million.
Right. That's quite a bit faster than the U.S. or the regional average. Makes you wonder, what's driving that extra push in Canada? Specific industries, maybe?
It really does suggest something specific is happening there. Maybe specialized industrial needs, maybe faster adoption in certain sectors. It's a notable point.
Yeah.
And Mexico is also a key part of the picture, of course. Steady growth there, too.
Yeah, about $131 million up to $240 million, growing at around 4.4% CAGR. So the whole region looks pretty robust.
Definitely a strong base.
Okay, so that's North America. Let's hop across the Atlantic. Europe, similar story or different dynamics at play. The overall numbers for Europe, nearly $700 million in 2021, so smaller than North America.
$687 million, yeah.
And projected to hit over $1.2 billion by 2033. The regional CAGR is around 4.8%, 4.858%, so slightly lower than North America, but still quite healthy.
And when you look inside Europe, you see the usual suspects playing big roles.
Yeah.
Germany, for example, a major industrial player. About $157 million in 2021, heading towards nearly $300 million. That's a 5.3% CAGR. Very solid.
Mm-hmm. And the UK?
The UK is also showing strong performance. Actually, slightly higher growth than Germany.
Oh, really?
Yeah, over 5.6% CAGR, starting from $110 million, projected to cross $213 million.
Interesting. But now this is where I did a double take looking at Europe. The rest of Europe category.
Yes, that one stands out.
It really does. A CAGR of over 8.6%, 8.667% to be precise.
It's remarkable, significantly higher than the big players like Germany or the UK.
Exactly. So the individual markets in that group might be smaller, starting from just $16.5 million combined in 2021.
Right.
But growing to over $45 million. That aggregated growth is incredibly dynamic. You have to wonder what specific countries or sectors are booming within that rest of Europe basket.
It definitely points to some hot spots of activity, perhaps in Eastern Europe or other developing industrial areas within the continent.
Yeah. And beyond those highlights, the rest of Europe seems pretty consistent. France around 4.4%, Italy just over 4%, Spain about 4.5%.
Mm-hmm. Sweden, Denmark, Russia showing growth too, maybe a bit more modest, in the 3-4% range. Switzerland around 4.6%, Luxembourg 4.7%.
So the overall picture is widespread, steady expansion across the continent, but with that really interesting high growth pocket in the rest of Europe.
Exactly. A diverse but generally positive story. Okay, so after Europe, let's head east. Asia Pacific.
Right. Often seen as the global growth engine. Does that hold true for air pumps?
It certainly seems to. This region really stands out. A strong regional CAGR of almost 6%, 5.968%.
Wow.
Growing from just over $500 million in 2021.
$516 million.
Projected over $1 billion by 2033. $1.047 billion, so nearly doubling.
And I imagine China plays a big role there.
Oh, absolutely. China's dominance is clear. They started about $164 million in 2021, projected to reach almost $342 million. That's a TAGR over 6.2%.
Yeah.
Very strong.
And India, always another one to watch.
India's growth is also incredibly impressive, even faster than China's in percentage terms.
Really?
Yeah, it's CAGR of almost 6.8%, going from around $72 million to nearly $160 million. That indicates huge underlying demand, serious expansion.
Almost 7%. That's significant. Okay, any other surprises in Asia Pacific?
Well, here's another wait what moment. Taiwan.
Okay.
Its CAGR is exceptionally high, over 8.5%, 8.529%.
Whoa, okay, that is high. From a smaller base, I see.
Yes, starting smaller, around $9.3 million in 2021, heading to $24 million. But that rate, 8.5%, is just astonishing for this market.
It screams specialized demand, doesn't it? Maybe high-tech manufacturing, electronics, something like that.
That would be my guess. Something specific is driving intense demand there.
And the other players in the region? Japan, South Korea.
Also contributing significantly. Japan around 5.2% adagio.
Yeah.
South Korea over 5.8%. Australia is strong at 5.6%. Singapore at 5.4%. And Southeast Asia as a whole is growing fast too, over 6.3%.
So Asia Pacific is definitely living up to its reputation as a growth powerhouse for this market. Lots of dynamism there.
No question about it.
All right, let's swing down south now. South America, what's the picture there? Market size over $325 million in 2021. Forecasted to reach over $565 million by 2033.
Right. $325.3 million to $565 million.
And CAGR is around 4.7%, 4.685%, so a bit more modest compared to Asia Pacific, but, still solid growth.
Steady is probably the word.
Yeah.
Main drivers there. Brazil leads the pack, projecting a TGR just over 5%, from $120 million to about $217 million.
Okay. And Argentina, Colombia?
Also showing healthy growth. Argentina around 4.9% CAGR, and Colombia actually a bit stronger at 5.2%.
So those three seem to be the core of the market's expansion in South America.
Yeah, they definitely are. Peru, Chile, the rest of South America show growth too, but more in the 3-4% range. Brazil, Argentina, and Colombia are carrying the weight.
Got it. Okay, next stop. The Middle East. Now, this region really caught my eye in the numbers.
Yes. The Middle East shows some very strong figures.
Extremely strong. Over $260 million back in 2021, expanding to over $546 million by 2033.
$261.4 million to $546.1 million. Yeah.
That's a regional CAGR of over 6.5%. 6.556%. That makes it one of the fastest growing regions overall.
It really stands out. And within the region, Saudi Arabia is a major driver.
How major?
Truly significant CAGR, over 7.3%.
Wow, 7.3%. That's huge. Suggests massive investment, right? Infrastructure, industrial projects.
Absolutely, going from about $85 million to nearly $190 million. That kind of growth points to substantial economic activity.
And other countries in the Middle East, are they following suit?
Very much so. The UAE is close behind Saudi Arabia with a CGR over 6.9%. Turkey's strong too, around 6.3%. Egypt over 6.3%. Qatar nearly 6.7%.
So it's not just one country. The whole region seems to be booming in terms of air pump demand.
It's a very dynamic picture across the key economies there. Really robust growth.
Okay, and finally our last stop, Africa. The market size here was around $225 million in 2021, projected to reach over $433 million by 2033.
$224.996 million to $433.361 million, yes.
Which gives it a CAGR of about 5.3%, 5.373%, so quite healthy, actually right in line with the global average.
It is. And within Africa, there are two main markets driving that growth.
Let me guess. South Africa, Nigeria.
You got it.
Yeah.
South Africa shows strong performance, growing at over 6% CAGR.
Okay.
From about $101 million to over $208 million. And Nigeria is also very respectable, nearly 5.75% CAGR.
$78.5 million up to $157 million for Nigeria. So those two are clearly the powerhouses for this market on the continent.
They are. They indicate significant development, increasing industrial activity in those key nations. The rest of Africa category shows much more modest growth, below 3%. Yeah. So the focus is really on South Africa and Nigeria.
Okay, so we've done our whirlwind tour. Let's try to pull it together. What does this all mean for you listening in as you think about the global economy?
Well, I mean, the numbers really do speak for themselves, don't they?
They certainly paint a clear picture.
We're seeing this really robust expansion, particularly strong in Asia-Pacific and the Middle East. Plus those interesting high-growth pockets like Canada, parts of Europe like that rest of Europe group, Taiwan, South Africa. Exactly. Alongside the steady, consistent growth we see in the large markets of North America and other parts of Europe and South America.
It just seems clear this is a sector poised for continued strong performance, driven by all sorts of different regional needs and economic development happening across the globe.
That's right. That robust expansion we've seen across such diverse places, Asia Pacific, the Middle East, those specific African and European markets. It really underscores this pervasive underlying demand. These aren't niche products, they're fundamental, pointing to widespread industrial uses and even, everyday applications driving that growth.
Yeah, absolutely. And that brings us towards the end of this deep dive. So here's maybe a final thought for you to chew on. Given this really significant, consistent growth we're seeing everywhere, what do you think are the real underlying drivers, the big applications or societal shifts pushing this demand for something as basic as an air pump?
Hmm.
Is it more manufacturing shifting around, big infrastructure projects coming online, or maybe just, wider adoption of technologies that happen to rely on them?
That's the key question, isn't it? What's truly behind those numbers?
Definitely something for you to mull over as you go about your day. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.